Hi there, the name's Nico, and today I will be going over the best practices for duos and squads in Eternal Return. I make a lot of Eternal Return content for my channel, and I have wanted to do a comprehensive team modes guide for a while, especially since I have been playing a lot more ranked duos lately. So let's go over the basics in team modes. Team modes are played very similarly to solos. You need to find items for your build, farm animals, transition into better items for the late game, except you are with one or two other people who want to do the same thing. Unlike in solos, where you do not need to think of what character to play, team modes are different as ideally you want a team that has good synergy with each other. What I mean by synergy is that characters in the team work together to help set up your opponents so that they take the most amount of damage. For my team, Kathy and Hedgen work together by getting Kathy to suture the opponents together so Hedgen can drop Kyle traps on them and clean up after Kathy's combo. Teams with good synergy generally involve some type of crowd control or CC, as well as area effect or AoE spells. CC examples would be knockbacks, roots, stuns, and in Hedgen's case, fear. AoE spells would be like Yuki's ultimate, Alex's ultimate, and Lennox Q. Having at least one range character on your comp is also ideal in team modes because you will be doing a lot of poking and you want to maintain spacing to get out of bad situations. In Hedgen's case, you want to use her W to root someone chasing you or Caltrops, which applies a slow when an opponent or opponents walk through them. Once you have found a team composition that works for you, you want to look at routing. Running in team modes is, in my opinion, the most important thing. If you are not with your team by 2 minutes, this is not a good route. 2 minutes into the game is generally your third zone to give you a reference. There are many tools that you can use to look for routes. You can go to doc.gg, click on the character tab, then the character you want to play, and then go through the builds. Most of these builds would be meant for solos though, but if you are new to team modes, this is fine. Eventually, you want to make a custom route. Then you want to do the same thing with the rest of your team. As an example, the most popular Shuriken and Hedgen build right now is a 3-zone build that ends in forest. There is a popular Adela build that goes temple, school, forest, beach, hotel. If you're running an Adela Hedgen comp, you can do this route. The disadvantage of doing your route like this is that since it is a popular route, another team or player may be running the same route, contesting your resources. Another downside is that you're not helping your team finish their build faster. One of the best practices is to share resources with your team. What I mean by this is if you're going to a different zone than your team, which you should be until your third zone, you want to grab items that your teammates need on their build that they normally couldn't get. So for the build I am running, I am grabbing my duo partner a barrette, which is a hat and scissors, a square leader band, which is a bandage needle, and a turtle shell. This way, Kathy can finish her Crate of the Night and Imperial Crown in 4 zones instead of 6. At the beginning, you'll most likely forget the items you need for your team. That's why you should practice in normal games before going into ranked if you plan on playing ranked. You want to see how your inventory is with your items and your teammates' items, see the timings of your build, because even if you are running the build in solos, you might not have the same timings in duos and squads. This is because you might need to loot extra loot sets compared to normal to make sure you get the items your teammate needs. Another tip related to grabbing your teammates' items is to have the team member that you are grabbing items for Alt plus click the zone on the map at the beginning of the game that you will be looting. This was added in the most recent patch and is a really useful feature if you don't remember what your teammate needs. Just a piece of information that is important in team modes, you can revive your teammate. In solos, once you are dead, you are dead. But if one of your teammates goes down, you can revive them. You want to click on their body to grab what is known as the Regeneration cuff. Then you want to head to one of the 3 regeneration stations on the map. These are located in Hotel, Hospital, and Dock. And these stations are a one-time use for everyone on the map, meaning that if one team revives someone at Dock, you can no longer revive your team member in Dock. You can check to see what stations are available by pressing tab and looking at the map. There will be a ring symbol at the location where the regeneration stations are if it is still available. Once they are used, the symbol will be gone. And if you have found this video helpful so far, please give it a like as it helps spread this video to more people who may be struggling in team modes as well. My next advice is to know who you should be funneling resources to. As an example with the comp that I am running in duos, you want to funnel the first tree of life to Hedgen, because Hedgen will be your main source of damage, and the shoes on the build I am running are normally fine, but because of the other items I am running, it is not ideal because I will be overcapping on CDR. If you get a Mithril with this build, you want to make Mithril Helm for Kathy. Figuring out and knowing what items will give the biggest power spike to your team composition will make sure you will succeed. You can learn about this through a combination of looking at rare items that are commonly built for your character, asking others what they think are the most important transition items for your character in the community, whether this is in the character Discord, which I'll link in the description, or in places like Reddit and practice. My last advice is to know your location and where people are on the map. Team modes is a lot more about positioning compared to solos, although it is important in solos too, just not to the same extent. If you're running a comp with an ADC, meaning someone with a lot of DPS, such as Nadine, you want to make sure your Nadine is on the backline and not taking the heat of the damage. If you're in a rough spot and you have a mobility spell, you want to make sure you use your mobility spell in the same direction as or towards your team. The worst thing you can do in team modes is to split up from your team, especially if you're being chased. This will almost always end up with the person by themselves dying. The rare exceptions would be with characters with high mobility and a wall jump like Hedjin, but even then this can go poorly. Communication is key in these situations with your team. You can use Alt plus click to let your team know where you are going so you do not split up. Having vision through a combination of surveillance cameras and console is important for positioning and knowing where people are on the map. If you're stuck in a spot between 3 teams, such as an uptown or forest, you want to figure out a way that you can escape, but ideally you want to make sure that you do not end up in these positions in the first place. If you are between 2 or more teams, you do not want to take any fights. This will lead you to getting third party easily. With all this knowledge, you should be ready to take on other teams. If you enjoy Eternal Return as much as I do, consider subscribing, and if you're struggling to know what transition items work for your character, check out my basics to transition video, which will be featured on the left. I hope to see you at the next video.